desert plains of the outback to the Great Barrier Reef, meet the intriguing animals of Australia, nature's most unusual creatures. Next on Animal Wonder Down Under.
Carnivores are eaters of flesh. Bluntly speaking, this means that some animals kill other animals and eat them. Human beings are the most efficient of all carnivores, but few do their own hunting. Most of them shrink from any visual connection between the food to be consumed and the animal which has to be destroyed to provide it. In the wild, the killing process is straightforward and ruthless. Some animals are predators and others are preyed upon. That's the way the wildlife cookie crumbles. Most Australian mammals are marsupials. They have their counterparts among the placental mammals of other countries. Kangaroos and wallabies are fast-moving vegetarian marsupials, somewhat equivalent to the antelopes of Africa or the deer of Europe. In these sweeping grasslands, it would be easy to imagine a marsupial equivalent to the lion, lurking in the grass, ready to pounce upon the defenseless Bennett's wallaby. But this just isn't so. There is no marsupial equivalent to the lion. The biggest native mammal in the country is the grass-eating kangaroo. We don't even have a marsupial equivalent to the elephant. The only native predator of the kangaroo, apart from man, is now presumed extinct. The thylacine, or marsupial wolf. Sometimes called the Tasmanian tiger because of the stripes on its back. They used to be quite common in Tasmania, but because they had a liking for sheep, more than 2,000 of them were shot. The last known wild thylacine was captured in 1933, and this sad piece of film was taken at a zoo shortly before the animal died in 1936. In the same year, a law was passed protecting the species, but it was too late. Australia's largest carnivore passed into oblivion. There is just a chance that somewhere in parts of unknown Australia there may still be small groups of thylacines. But in the meantime, a much smaller animal is now the largest Australian carnivore, the Tasmanian devil. Devils are quite common, but they're not often seen in the wild because they're nocturnal. A strange-looking little animal, not unlike a bear in appearance. He's more of a carrion eater than a predator, a sort of small marsupial hyena, if you like, about the size of a large cat. The scent from a not very fresh wallaby carcass has brought him here. He's very hungry. Probably he hasn't eaten for some days. His table manners could be improved, but he's quite an aggressive animal and hunger must be appeased. they're young, devils are very affectionate, and mothers often put up with a good deal of inconvenience and discomfort. Very little is known about the devil's domestic life, and not enough about its feeding habits. Many farmers think that their lambs are attacked by devils, and they're given government permits to destroy them during the lambing season. Hopefully, research now being undertaken will retrieve their reputation and free these quaint and fascinating animals from needless persecution. The island of Tasmania is a sanctuary for many species of wildlife. The spotted-tailed quoll, sometimes called the tiger cat, is a little smaller than the Tasmanian devil, but it's much more ferocious and prefers to catch its food alive. It'll attack birds, rats, arboreal mammals, small macropods, and reptiles. It can be found in a narrow strip from Tasmania, northwards along the New South Wales coast, and right on the northeastern tip of Queensland. Like the devil, quolls patiently carry their young on their backs.
Animal Wonder Down Under will be right back.
This portion of Discovery is sponsored in part by Pedigree Dog Food.
Even though our dogs are show dogs, they're our family pets, and we love them.
Pamela Fever, top breeder of champion English setters.
Dogs deserve the best we can give them. My dogs love Pedigree Mealtime. It's a great dog food. It doesn't have the fillers, and it doesn't have the soy. I feed Pedigree Mealtime, and I mix it with the canned meat. It's the perfect combination. Pedigree has been a part of my success for about 15 years. I would recommend Pedigree to anyone who wants their dog to be happy and healthy.
Pedigree, developed with vets, recommended by top breeders.
It's coming. The worst breath of the day, morning breath. And ready to meet that sticky, pasty film head on. A whole new feeling of clean. A clean as fresh as snow. Introducing the new cooling formula in Peppermint Scope. Its antibacterial action still kills millions of morning breath bacteria on contact. And compared to that other blue, more people prefer its new cooling formula for leaving their mouths feeling cleaner. Discover a whole new feeling of clean. New Peppermint Scope.
At MCI, whether you speak Cantonese,
Ronnie Chen, I'm with MCI International.
Japanese,
Hi, my name is Michiko Muneoka.
Spanish,
Hi, I'm Mike Tomas.
or whatever, your operator, calling card, and even our electronic voices are in your language.
If you speak Mandarin and you are an MCI customer, your operator will speak Mandarin and your calling card will be in Chinese.
Of course, those services are also available to our English-speaking customers, even those who speak with an accent.
Once, the elements united. Fire forged the earth. As mountains jolted upward, water nourished the land, and life began to grow. This is the story of the birth of our world, the evolution of animals who inhabit it, and the colossal forces still at work today. Witness the making of a continent, Wednesday at 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on the Discovery Channel. Look at war.
He was ready to shoot me.
From both sides.
That land was ours.
Now. And see how the world's great battles were fought.
You're so scared you don't think.
As veterans from both sides relive and remember.
We have to win or to die.
Fields of Armor. Premiering Friday, October 1st at 9 Eastern and Pacific, only on the Discovery Channel. We now return to Animal Wonder Down Under.
Today, it's one of the homes of the northern quoll, smallest of all the so-called native cats. It can be found right across the north of Australia. The northern quoll looks very much like the spotted-tailed quoll, except that it's much smaller and has no spots on its tail. It's an amazingly agile animal. It can run up vertical cliffs with no apparent trouble. Spreading its legs gives it a stronger toehold. Its diet includes insects and small reptiles, and also small mammals, such as this little rock rat, which must have a nest in here somewhere. Rock rats are grain eaters. They need to live near grass or spinifex. They're also very wise to stay away from the quolls, which attack very directly, usually biting off the head before tackling the rest of the meal in a quite fastidious fashion. Having disposed of the tail, a ritual washing begins, and this can take several minutes. This is northwestern Australia. Rugged country. Temperatures often up to 45 degrees centigrade. Vegetation is mainly spinifex, a clumpy, grass-like shrub. The spines of the spinifex are very sharp and painful. But its seed ears are prolific and full of protein. They provide food for a wide range of animals. Harvester ants. Worker ants take the seed down below, where it's dehusked and stored. Discarded husks are deposited outside the nest, giving some indication of the sort of work going on below. Ants are the only diet of the thorny mountain devil, which has the delightful but unfair scientific name of Moloch horridus. It's a slow-moving little animal, and its ferocious appearance protects it from attack by birds and other predators. Its spikes are actually soft and rubbery. Moloch doesn't drink water at all, but after rain or dew, it absorbs moisture through its skin. Its color can vary to blend with local surroundings. Each of these two has an effective camouflage for its own area. The Gould's goanna, or bungara. This one is on the prowl after sleeping in his burrow. Lithe, sinuous movement for so large a lizard. He's a daytime animal who will eat almost anything, even carrion if he has to. But he prefers small mammals and reptiles, or birds if he can get them. He's a big lizard, almost 2 meters long. Bungaras are territorial animals, and it could be that this behavior of defecating and rubbing the body on the ground is a form of marking his boundaries. It's done by mammals, especially the wombat and bilby, but it's not known whether reptiles use the same methods. Spinifex country supports a wide range of wildlife, not all of it carnivorous. These are hopping mice. They're grain eaters and live on shoots and roots and seed. They're not marsupials, but like many desert-type animals, they can survive for very long periods without water. Their legs are long and powerful, and their hopping gait makes them a difficult target for predatory birds. Even so, many of them are taken. In this huge tract of land in the northwest lives the tiniest marsupial in the world. I could almost say the smallest mammal in the world, but I might be challenged. There's a very tiny shrew in Africa, which might just be smaller. When animals are as small as this, they just can't get much smaller, and a fraction of a millimeter could be the deciding factor. An adult Pilbara Ningawi, like this one, has been weighed in at 2 grams, 7/100ths of an ounce. That would be hard to beat. At one time, they were thought to be very rare, probably because they're nocturnal and sleep all day in the spinifex. It's only quite recently, during the past 10 years or so, that research has proved quite a high population of Ningawi in this part of Australia. They're fierce little animals and often attack insects bigger than themselves. Their lifespan is very short, though. Although they can survive without drinking in searing temperatures, they seldom live beyond one breeding season. So each year, a new generation completely replaces the one before it. Further south and a little further inland, we come to the fringe of the Western Desert. There are many reminders here of the shortage of water.
Animal Wonder Down Under will be right back.
If actions speak louder than words, well, this is my way of shouting.
Mixed nuts never give you enough of your favorite nuts, but new Fisher favorites are all favorites. Pecans, almonds, peanuts, lightly coated with luscious flavors. Toffee, honey glaze, praline, plus large whole cashews, so...
That's my favorite. No, that's my favorite.
Every nut is your favorite. New Fisher favorites.
My basic love of dogs and my experience breeding dogs makes me enjoy my career as a veterinarian even more.
David Qualls, top breeder of champion Siberian Huskies and doctor of veterinary medicine.
We give our dogs pedigree as a source of meat in their diet. When you open a can of Choice Cuts, there's big meaty chunks and a rich brown gravy. You can really smell the meatiness. Pedigree contains no soy. Pedigree is a very digestible and very nutritious dog food. For my money, Pedigree is the best dog food you can buy.
Pedigree, developed with vets, recommended by top breeders.
The latest movies, the hottest scenes, the special effects masters who bring it all to the big screen. Movie Magic, premiering September 30th at 9 Eastern and Pacific, only on the Discovery Channel.
And there are different families, different people, but they're all connected somehow. As a matter of fact, I'm sure you've heard of Erica Kane. She's the #1 person on the show. Well, anyways, they figured it out one time that she's been married to almost every single male on the show somehow, or she's been in their family because she's been married about 6 times to this guy who's this guy's
The only
uncle.
thing worse than missing a great TV show is having someone try to explain it to you the next morning. Get the TV Times in the Sunday Times, and you'll never miss out.
There's a hospital.
Celebrate life's special times with a diamond from Camelot, where our master jewelers create eternally beautiful diamond jewelry. Because we import our diamonds, you can be assured of low prices always. And our craftsmen can even set your stones in a beautiful new mounting while you watch. At Camelot Jewelers, Fallbrook Square, Canoga Park, and Delamo Fashion Square, Torrance. 10% discount for seniors.
We now return to Animal Wonder Down Under.
This sandy, open, scrubby country is typical habitat for the Kaltar, or wool. He's another small carnivorous marsupial with a long, tufted tail. Much bigger than the Ningawi, but still very small. He's missed that grasshopper and is very anxious to find out where it's gone. Sometimes he hops. Sometimes he uses all 4 legs. He has very long back legs which can catapult him forward at high speed. He's a rare animal, mainly distributed over almost all of the southern half of the country. Until this film was made, no one knew whether the wool made its own burrow or borrowed one already made. From the effort he's putting into this digging, our assessment is that he's an expert burrower who at least sometimes makes his own. Almost everywhere throughout the country, some form of tiny carnivores can be found. There are dozens of different varieties, but they all have very similar basic features. A narrow jaw with many sharp teeth, complex ears, and bulbous eyes for night vision. These seem to be the main characteristics of the fierce and tiny carnivorous animals which haunt the hours of darkness all over Australia. This is the yellow-footed antechinus, with the local name of mardo. The mardo is another predator of insects. When he's in a hunting mood, even spiders aren't safe. The desert country is arid and inhospitable. The heat is intense and vegetation sparse. This is a stripe-faced dunnart, one of the 12 species of these little marsupial hunters. Like several other dunnarts, he has a plump tail used for storing fat against a bad season. The fat-tailed dunnart has longer ears and a shorter tail. Unlike most small carnivores, he prefers to forage for food in open country, away from vegetation. Fat-tailed dunnarts are probably one of the few native species to thrive and even benefit because of land clearing by farmers. They're fierce predators of insects and little reptiles and are not always gentle amongst themselves. Their tails are not very fat at the moment because it's wintertime and the fat becomes depleted. small, dense patch of casuarina forest is one of the last retreats of the red-tailed phascogale, or wombenga, one of the few arboreal carnivores. The almost continuous canopy enables the tiny wombengas to move from one tree to another quite easily. They were quite common at one time. Now, as they can't survive in land used for farming, they're very rare. We can only hope that the small patches of virgin land that they need for survival will remain as reserves. If not, the future of the wombengas is very uncertain indeed. Just why this enormous, geographically isolated country should be so deficient in large carnivorous mammals while it's so abundant in herbivores is a great mystery. Perhaps the thylacine will one day emerge from its presumed extinction and harass the kangaroo population once again. Many and fierce are the arguments for and against that proposition. In the meantime, Australia will continue to present its mysterious image to the world as the vast land of the tiny carnivores.
Big half hour of Grand Ole Opry Live here on the National Network. Hi, everybody. I'm Keith Bilbrey.